Good afternoon, students. Today our topic of the study will be the Veer Saiva tradition in Karnataka. Understand? Apart from two traditions we have studied in the Tamil Nadu about the Alvars and the Nanners, and the state supports the support of the Chalukya, Pallava, and Chola dynasty. How the kings of this dynasty and why the kings of this dynasty supported these different cults of the Alvar, Vaishnavism, Vishnu, and the Shiva. Understand the grand and the huge structure now got constructed by these kings because the kings wanted to express their authority and express their divinity or the influence over their subjects by constructing the huge or the massive buildings or the structure of these god and goddesses. Understand? Or the moreover we have seen that even the Parantak first we have seen that how he got installed the metal the metal statue of the three three saints. Understand? The now he wanted to get the support through through the buildings and the structure support and the dominance he wanted to establish and set their dominance among the people among their subjects. So this was the expression of the authority or expression of the authority of the kings. Understand? So now or their dominance and the way of the dominating over the subjects. Now today we are going to study, dear students, the Veer Saiva traditions in the Karnataka, or almost the 12th century witnessed the emergence of a new movement that is called the Veer Saiva movement. Understand? And this was the ultimately this movement was led by a Brahman, a Brahman named the Basauna Brahman से 1106 to 68, who was initially a Jain believers. Particularly, he was by the tradition. It is said that he believed in the Jainism first in traditionally and believed in the Jainism, and he was also a minister in the court of the Chalukya kings. Understand? He was the Jain believers in the court under the court of the Chalukyas, and he was by caste a Brahman. Understand? So now these things were here along with him. His followers were known as the Veer Saivas. Those who followed him, they called the Veer Saiva heroes of the Shiva. Veer Saiva. Veer, you can see that. Veera means hero. Saiva means Shiva. The heroes of Shiva. Understand? And were also known as the or Lingayats. Lingayat. Also known as the Lingayat. Lingayat means wearer of the linga, wearers of the linga, wearers of the left hair in the left side on here, they wear the linga here. Understand? So wearer of the linga, so that means they called as the Lingayat. Understand? Veer Saivas or Lingayat, the hero of the Shiva and the wearer of the Lingayat. Understand? This was the or Lingayat continued to be an very important community. This community was no doubt much important, very important, or in the religion, in the region on the today. Still, they hold their position in Karnataka. Still, or in political system, you know that every party, even in the democratic state, every party wants to attract them because they are the very dominant in Karnataka. Understand? And they can change the political, they can change and they play the very important role in the politics of Karnataka today. Understand? So now that is the political matter. We don't have to be the do that. And now they worship Shiva in his manifestation as the Shiva. Understand? Linga. They worship Shiva in the manifestation as a linga. Worship Shiva. They are the savage Shiva. Understand? But they manifested Shiva as a in the form of linga. And the male usually wear the male followers wear a small linga in a silver case. In a silver case, the men carry wear the small ling on a loop strung over the left shoulder. On a loop strung in a small silver case. Understand? They wear in the on the left their soldiers. Those who are revered include the Jangam. Here is the one thing is that those who are revered means those saints and the monks like saints, they are the revered. Revered include the Jangam or the wandering monks. Those who have adopted or embraced the Veer Saivism, and they are the wandered like the monks, and the preacher preaches this preaches door to door and the roams and the moved here and there. So they are called as the Jangam. Jangam. Remember these terms. You must understand. You must have to be there. Remember these all the terms. Jangam. What is the meaning of Veer Saivas? What is the meaning of the Lingayata? Understand? And the Jangam. Wandering monks. Lingayats believe that what is their beliefs? One thing we shall see that what is their beliefs. What they believe. The first of all, Jangam death, they Lingayat believe on the death, on a particular death. Understand? The devotee will be the united with the Shiva. Now on the death, devotee will be the united with the associated or united or assimilated or integrated with the Shiva and will not return to this world. After the death, or Lingayat or Veer Saiva will not come to this world, and he or she would assimilated or will unite with the Lord Shiva. Understand? And will not never back to on this earth. Understand? This is their beliefs. They believe that this is their ideology or the principles about the God. And moreover, therefore, they don't practice funeral rites. They don't burn their corpse. And the funeral rites such as the cremation, they don't do the cremation. And the burn funeral rites prescribed in the Dharma Shastra. These funeral rites are prescribed in our Dharma Shastra. In the Hindu or in the Dharma Shastra, they don't believe in that. Instead, they ceremonially bury their deads, or ceremonially they bury or engrave their dead bodies. Understand? This is their practice that is the quite different from the Hinduism. Understand? This is the quite different. Okay. So now one thing is that Lingayats now challenge the idea of caste system. One thing is that they challenge the idea of caste and the pollution. Idea of caste and pollution is the sole idea of the Hinduism and the Brahmanism. So they condemn the idea of just discard the idea of the caste and the pollution attributed to the certain groups by the Brahmins. Understand? Now attributed to the certain groups of the Brahman. They believe in the idea of pollution and the or pollution and purity. They don't believe in that. And moreover, they also question. What they question? Make the question. The theory of rebirth. Understand? They question that. How the theory of rebirth. Now in the Brahmanism, we have good karma. Then after we have the good birth. Understand? Bad karma, bad birth. But they don't believe in that. They question the rebirth on this earth. And moreover, these own them followers amongst those who were marginalized within the Brahmanical, and now they got the success, winning the heart of those who were the marginalized and discarded from the Brahmanism, from the Brahmanical social order. Those who were discarded from the Brahmanical social order, they now joined the Veer Saivism. They became the part time. They became the part of the Veer Saivism, and they followed. Lingayats also encouraged certain practices disapproved in the Dharma Shastra. Certain practices they disapproved, which has been given in the Dharma Shastra, such as post puberty marriage. Understand? They don't believe in that marriage, and the remarriage of the widows. Understand? These are the discarded by the Brahmanical Dharma Shastra, but they don't believe this. They believe in the widow remarriage and the post puberty marriage. Understand? They believe in that. And moreover, the remarriage, our understanding of the Veer Saiva tradition is derived from Vachana. Okay? Now, their Veer Saivism traditions have been derived from Vachana, literally the sayings, composed in Kannada. Their Vachan has been composed in the Kannada. By whom? Sorry, by women and the men who joined and the women. Now by the men and women who joined joined this now men and who joined the movements. Moreover, here is the one of the very ridiculous or very interesting word and vachan has been composed by Basavan. Very interesting. You must be very careful about this study. When they see a serpent, understand what a very good thing. When very good composition is here, couplets. When they see a serpent carved in a stone, they pour milk on it. Understand? Carved in stone. A stone serpent carved in stone. Understand? They pour the milk. If a real serpent comes, they say, kill, kill, kill. Understand? What they say? Kill, kill, kill. Real serpent is killed. And the serpent carved in the stones is poured on the milk. What a notion now he is clearing. And moreover, to the servant of a god who could eat if served, they say, servant of the god who could eat if the served. Any poors and the commoners, go away, driven away. The beggars and the poors are driven away. And but to the image of the God which can't eat, image eats, no, it can't eat, and they offer the dishes of the food, the image that never they can't eat, but the dishes of the offerings are given there. But who the poor who can eat, the hungers, they and beggars can eat, but what do? Go away, go away, go away. So now this is the notion, a very factual notion, what he had given, a very practical examples of that. So now the students, we can see that Veer Saivism and the tradition. Understand who are the founder, what their principles are, what the principles they follow. the rituals they follow, understand, or as well as how they are the different from the Brahminism, Brahmanism, how they differ from Brahmanism, who are the founder of the Vaishnavism, sorry, Veer Shaivism, understand. So now we shall focus on the your study. This you shall compose in the points. These all whatever we have the explained here. Understand. So now here and more we are going to next day study about the regarding the religious ferment in the North India. So we shall see that now the development of Vaishnavism, Shaivism, whether the developments were the actual similar to the development of the Alvards and the Nanners. That this we shall study about that. So here we see the religious ferments in North India. In Northern India, we know that after the post Harsha decline, Harsh was the last Hindu ruler of the Northern India. You know very well. Understand? So after the Harsha, the Northern India now broke into the pieces in a small state, petty states, and particularly in the Gujarat, in the Madhya Pradesh, MP, and the Maharashtra, or in the other parts of our country, or the particularly the Rajasthan. Now the many of the small state, petty states emerged after the decline of the great king Harshavardhan. Understand? Now and moreover, during this period, now the North India deities. Now I am just talking about the 800 AD to the 1200 AD. Between the area, I am talking about that. After the decline of the Harshavardhana and the advent of the Muslim in India. During this period, the Rajputs were the dominating in India. Understand? But in a very fragmented manners. They had the mutual conflicts and jealous of the each others. Understand? Or the state, the country was in a state of the fragmentation of the or in a breaking state. So now here, students, in this deities such as the Vishnu and the Shiva worship in the temples. Particularly, temples were now constructed and often with the superior. Now these temples were often built by the dominant feudals or the kings, understand, and the rulers. And however, the historians found that evidence of the anything resembling to the composition of the Alvards and the Nanners. So now here we, if you compare the Alvards and Nanners who were in the southern India and Tamil Nadu and that area, and in the northern India, so there was there and where any similarity and the resemblance between the composition of the Alvards and Nanners and the here the believers of the Vaishnava and Shaivism. No, historians believe that there was no any similarity of the compositions, understand, and the contents between the two sides, understand, between the two regions there was no similarity. Alvards and till the 14th century, how they accounted for the differences. Some historians point out that North India was the period when the several, I have already said, North India was the period, this in this period, several Rajput states were existing in Northern India. Understand? All the and the now the most of these states, Brahmins occupied the very honorable position. In the Rajput states, the Brahmins had the very honorable position or the importance in the state, in these states, and as well as Brahmins performed a range of the secular and the rituals functions. The Brahman used to got performed the secular and the ritual, many rituals, performance yagya and the other worship and puja and like that. These were the work of the Brahmanas, and moreover, there seems to have a little and no attempts of challenge to their position directly, or the Brahmins never try to challenge the position directly of the Kshatriyas. Understand? Not directly. Or at the same time here, the religious leader who did not now functions within the orthodox Brahminical frame where the now gaining ground. Here, those religious leaders who had no any kind of the faith in the Brahminism. Understand? In the northern Indian states, those leaders, local leaders and local religious leaders had no the faith in the Brahminism. So what they did, now they were getting the importance and gaining the ground. How? These included what the different sect, these non-Brahminical leaders saints now form the different sects like the Naths, Yogis, Nath, or the Siddhas, Yogis, and the Nath. They were gaining the importance and significance in the society, apart from the Brahminical influenced in the society. And moreover, many of them came from the artisanal groups, and these Yogis and Natha or the Siddhas were coming from artisans groups, and the weavers. Why these two artisans and weavers were the getting very importance in the society? Why? Because because they had the organized in the developments of the new cities. They had organized the production, and demand for their production grew with the emergence of new urban centers. As the new urban centers emerged, the demand of these weavers, demand of these artisans production enhanced and swelled. Understand? Or moreover, as their demand swelled and the urban centers, long distance trade with the Central Asia and the West Asia also flourished. Long trade and the authority of or in the meantime, many of these new religious leaders began to question the authority of the Vedas. Again, the question here, authority of the Vedas or the religious Vedas, authority of, and express themselves in the language, or they spread their thinkings in the local language. That was the very much prevalent, or which developed the centuries among, and in spite of the popularity, these religious leaders were not in position to win the support of the ruling elite. Although the Yogis and Naths and Yogis and the Siddhas did not get the patron of the elite class. Although in common among the commoners, among the downtrodden, they had the very strong hold. Understand? But in the elite class or the ruling class, they had no any patrons. And a new elements in the situation was coming. Now the advent of the Turks. I have already told that the Turks were making the invasion, established in the Delhi Sultanate, or now undermine the powers of the Rajputs. Rajputs' powers were destroyed, and the new power of the Muslim states established in India, and Brahmins were, and as the Rajputs states broke down, Brahmins were associated with the Rajputs. So the Brahmins were associated with the kingdom, and this Brahmins importance also gone away along with the Rajputs. And this was accompanied by marked the changes in the real of the culture or the religion. And then after the advent of the Muslims, a new culture, Islamic culture, began to emerge as a new religion in the form of Sufism. Understand? Sufism. Now, advent of the Sufism in India happened Sufi saints or became the significant part of our country. Understand? That's okay, students. Next topic we shall start the Islamic tradition and the regarding the Islamic faith, the Muslims' faith in India. Okay. Thank you very much.